Hey guys, so today we're checking out the Plank style switchback projector headlights with the black housing and the clear lens, fitting all 2016 and newer Toyota Tacomas with the factory daytime running light. So if you are in search of a performance upgrade as well as a styling upgrade for the front end of your Tacoma, this option is going to be a great choice to take a look into. Now these will be great for any Tacoma owner who's looking to step it up when it comes to lighting performance on the front end, considering that this is going to have two projector lights, one for the high beam and one for the low beam. Now this is also going to integrate multiple LEDs as far as the LED marker light and the LED U-bar and also the LED turn signal on the inside. Now what I really like about that is the fact that not only are the projector lights going to create a more uniform light pattern, project the light farther down the road, but it's going to give you a lot of styling in the meantime, giving you a lot more of a cleaner look out of the headlight, especially with that U-bar design. Now speaking of that daytime running light that comes with this, this is obviously going to illuminate in a bright white color, giving you a lot of style, making you more noticeable while you're driving around on the street. But this is also going to have a switchback function, as it says in the name. So whenever you actuate your turn signals, this will illuminate in an amber color, again giving you a lot more styling, making you a lot more noticeable, while also illuminating that turn signal, that light bar turn signal on the inside of the headlight. Overall, it's going to give you some better performance, make you more noticeable, and help out your visibility while you're driving around, which will be great if you are currently struggling with that at this time. Now, not to mention, this is going to give a very sleek look with that black housing, but with the clear lens, it's not going to take away from any of that lighting performance. So if you are a fan of a blacked out look or a sleeker look when it comes to a headlight, you're not necessarily a fan of that chrome or classic look, then this will be right up your alley. Now, with all of that being said, these are going to come in at roughly $750, and I personally think that's a great price for what you're getting with this set of headlights. Now, in comparison to some other options available on the page, this is going to be a projector halogen, so you will be getting an H7 and an H9 halogen bulb. Some other choices may have a projector lens, but they may be LED, so those are usually going to be a little bit more expensive. Now, this is going to have a one-up on some of the other options that have a daytime running, or that don't have a daytime running light, or even if they do have a daytime running light, this will have that switchback function that some other choices may not have. So if you are looking for a couple more bells and whistles than the average headlight, but you're not necessarily looking to take it over the top with something like a high-performing LED, then this is going to, again, be a great choice for you to take a look into. Now, when it comes to install, this is going to be a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, just because it'll take us a little bit of time to get these installed. I would say about an hour. However, these are completely plug and play, since this does work specifically with the factory daytime running light option on the Tacoma. So you're going to need some very basic hand tools to get the job done. And again, an hour's worth of your time. So speaking of the install, let's jump into that now. The tools that I used in this install were an electric ratchet and an impact wrench, soft pry tool, a trim removal tool, and a 10mm socket. To kick off this install, we're going to pop our hood and we're going to take off our grill. Now for this, you're going to need a 10mm socket and a trim removal tool. So on either side of the grill, we're going to have 2 clips, and then we are going to have 2 10mm screws that are holding on the support arms of our grill. So I'm going to start with this trim removal tool and the clips. All we have to do is just get underneath it there and pop it right out. Now you can use a flathead screwdriver for this. However, I find that these are a little bit easier to work with, especially if the clips are new. Then we can take that 10mm socket and remove the 2 screws up front. So at this point, now that all of the fasteners are removed, we can lift up on these arms up at the front off of those plastic retainers, and we can just give the grill a good tug forward. Now, if you have new clips with this grill, it might be a little bit difficult, but all you have to do is just give it a good pull. So over on the side of our headlight, there's going to be a bolt that we need to access, but in order to access that, we need to drop the bumper down a little bit. So over on the left side of the headlight here, or on the inside of the headlight, there's going to be 2 clips that are going to help us kind of lower that bumper. So what I'm going to do is take a trim removal tool and remove the 2 clips that are holding on the cover here. We can reinstall these after the headlight, or the new headlight is installed. But this is just gonna give us some more room to work with. So in order to access that bolt and pull the bumper down, we do need to peel the fender away a little bit so we can unclip the bumper from the retainer clip on this junction here. So in order to do that, we need to remove this 10mm bolt in the fender well. And there may be another one down at the bottom. We don't have one there. We don't have a retainer clip. So I am going to take a 10mm socket and remove the one up top. Now when that is out of the way, we'll be able to kind of peel the fender away. There is going to be some 3M tape, but there's also going to be some clips. So I would recommend to take a soft pry tool and depress those clips to kind of pry the fender out. So now that the fender is pulled out, what we can do is unhook our bumper from this little retainer clip over on this side and give it a good pull out. So once that's unclipped, we can pull the bumper down a little bit, and we can access that bolt that's holding in the part of our headlight here. So as you can see, when I pull the bumper down, there's going to be a bolt. This is holding in the retainer clip and the headlight. I'm going to take a 10mm socket and go ahead and remove that. Now once that's out, we can remove the other bolts that are holding in our headlight. So we're gonna have two bolts at the top of our headlight. I'm gonna continue to use that 10mm socket to remove both of those. So I'm gonna take a soft pry tool and just lightly pry on these tabs. There's little retainer clips that kind of hold them in place, so just wanna pop those off. And then we'll be able to move our headlight. Now I'm gonna move it inward towards the center of our grill here. There's a little clip down at the bottom, and you can kind of slide it in and out. Now the bumper may fight you a little bit here. You can just pull back on it a little while you do this. You can carefully pull out that headlight, and now we can disconnect all of our harnesses. So on the back of our headlight, we're gonna have 5 plugs. Now, if you have a halogen light, it will be a little bit different, but I'm gonna start with our turn signal on the side here. All we have to do is just pull that plug out. We're gonna pull out our high beam. I would make a note that the high beam is going to be a yellow plug, and the low beam is going to be a green plug. So just depress that clip and pull back. We can disconnect our marker light over on the inside of our light. And then last but not least, if you do have a factory daytime running light, we can disconnect that as well. So now that we have our factory headlight out, what we can do is plug in our new light. Now this is gonna be a completely plug and play setup. So I am going to start by plugging in our turn signal over on the side. Then we can plug in our high beam, which is going to be our yellow connector. We can plug in our low beam, which is going to be our green connector. Then we can plug in our marker light over at the side. This might be a little bit difficult to see because it is all the way in the corner. And then last but not least, we can plug in our daytime running light. Once all of those are clicked and secure, what we can do at this point is wiggle in our headlight. So we have this bracket down at the bottom that we need to secure, and then we can slide it into place. Kind of have to pull the bumper back at the same time in order to do this. And we can push our plastic tabs over. And the headlight's basically going to be secure at that point. We just have to fasten it down. So at this point, we can grab our factory hardware and secure it down. I'm going to start with the two up top, and we can tighten those up with a 10mm socket. I'm using my electric ratchet as well. You can use the impact wrench or even just a hand ratchet. Right? Then we can move around to the side and secure it at the fender. Next, we can secure down the side of our headlight to our fender using the factory bolt. Also using a 10mm socket just to get it threaded, and then we can tighten it up with the 10mm socket and our electric ratchet. Once that's in place, what we can do is kind of finagle our bumper over, clip it back in, clip our fender back in, and we can secure that one bolt over on the side. So right on the inside of the fender, we can re-secure that bolt, tightening it up with a 10mm socket. Next, we can install our clips in the bumper to secure it. These are going to be the 3 clips up front. And then after those are on, what we can do is repeat that process on the other side. So before we hop into the rest of the install, I wanted to step down and tell you guys a little bit more about these new headlights. Set them next to our factory ones to show you some of the similarities and differences between the two on the table and why this is going to be a big upgrade for your Tacoma. Now starting off is just a brief overview of our factory light. This is going to have a standard black housing or a standard plastic housing on the back. We're going to have a clear lens on the front, but on the inside we're going to have a very chrome look. Now the factory daytime running light is going to have a chrome appearance to it, and so will the reflectors, not only on the high beam but the turn signal as well. Now when it comes to the technology on the inside or the lighting itself, we're going to have multiple halogen bulbs for the low beam, the high beam, as well as the turn signal, but the factory daytime running light is going to be LED. However, it is going to be pretty subtle in comparison to something like this or some other options available in the category. And then we're going to have a small marker light over on the side that's going to be LED as well. Now overall, this is going to give you some pretty good performance when it comes to lighting. However, it's going to be nothing compared to something like this. Now this specific headlight is going to have a very similar plastic housing on the back. It is also going to have a clear lens, but this is going to have a black look to it, so it's going to look a lot sleeker than the factory chrome look that we're getting out of our factory headlight. Now this is also going to have a waterproof casing, making sure that no dust or dirt or water is going to get inside the headlight and damage any of the lighting inside. Now this styling is going to be a lot different. It's going to be very sleek in comparison to our factory light, especially with this LED light bar that we have here, or the U-bar as the manufacturer calls it. Now this is going to illuminate in a bright white light, but it's also going to have a switchback function with an amber feature, so whenever the turn signal is actuated, this is going to illuminate in an amber color, which I do really like. Now speaking of the styling and the turn signal, on the inside here you can see that this is going to have a tri-bar look, and it's also going to have a light bar look as well. Now the big difference between this new option and our factory light here is the fact that this is going to have 2 projector lenses, which not only cleans up the look, but it's going to increase the performance. So this will still have a halogen bulb, an H7 and an H9 for the high beam and the low beam. However, the projector lens on both of those is going to increase the lighting performance. It's going to increase the distance that the light projects. It's also going to create a more uniform light pattern, and it's going to clean up the look a lot more as far as the color temperature and the overall appearance is concerned. So you're really getting a lot of styling out of this, but you're also getting a lot of function when it comes to the lighting performance out of this new set of headlights. Not to mention, these are going to be DOT and SAE approved and completely plug and play, making this legal and very easy to get in your truck. So what do you say we go ahead and install our second light? So once both headlights are installed, what we can do is reinstall our grill. So we're just going to pop it back into place, give it a good push. We can reinstall our pins on either side. Then we can put our bolts up top and tighten those up with a 10mm socket. So that is going to wrap it up for my review and install. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos and products just like this, and always keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.